I ikke set en fjernbetjening, ikke? You haven't seen the remote control? That was the remote control for those.
Did nothing here this morning.
No.
Now it's just weird.
Just the bus to just the bus. Oh, we can go around. Ah, okay, thank you.
We've waited 4 long years for this, the pinnacle of our sport. The FEI World Championships 2022 is finally here. 28 nations are represented across 5 days of para-dressage competition in 5 championship grades. The stage is set. The athletes and horses are ready. Let the games begin. Good morning and welcome to the Grade 4 individual competition, live from Herning. As you'll see, we've got a really super class lined up this morning. Sanna Voets goes in 4th, looking to retain her title from the World Championships 4 years ago, but she'll face some tough competition from the rest of the field. We've got Rodolfo Riscala, silver medalist from Tokyo. Manon Clays, also medalist from last year. Kate Shoemaker will be looking to make her mark on a young horse, and Demi Harkins on her championship debut. 19 riders looking to make their moment at the World Championships matter. So as you can see, it's a little bit overcast here, but hoping to brighten up a little bit for the rest of the day. So the format for this competition: the riders will ride for the individual medals today and tomorrow before the team competition starts over the following 2 days. Their combined score from their 2 tests will then decide the top 8 that will go through to the freestyle on Sunday. So both tests super important for them. You can just see a few of the riders making their last minute preparations in the warm-up. We've got a lovely arena here at the BB Arena in Herning. Five judges will line up. So we've got Shell Meyer sat at E, Catherine Lucheski sat at H, Marco Olsini at C, Christy Wysocki at M, and John Robinson sat at B. The shell there just on screen. So the riders there just making some last minute checks. The competition will start. The first rider to go down the centre line is at 8:30. So just got a couple of minutes before they come forward. This will be a really excited to watch this class. There's some super combinations, some brand new horses as well. So we had Tokyo just last summer, and not a lot of competitions between then. So a few riders have been campaigning strongly, but a few of them haven't been out that much. So it's going to be really interesting to see them coming back up against each other, and some new younger horses. So Manon Clays will not have her Tokyo horse, but she does have a super young talent, a young mare, so that will be interesting to see. And then you have obviously some of the stronger combinations and more established combinations that we're a bit more familiar with. So it's going to be really exciting to see how this class plays out. A really strong field, a lot of really good riders coming forward here. Just making those last few checks in the warm-up. And the first rider comes forward. So from Spain, we've got Iker Beisha Astondoa riding Absolute. A grey 15-year-old.
He's a European Championship participant in 2019 in Rotterdam. On the FEI Cup, for example, individual ranking list for grade 4 is ranked as 55. And together with his own now 15-year-old Absolute, this athlete is now waiting for the championship here in hand. They only have one international.
So the grade 4s ride in a 20 by 60 compared to some of the grade 2 and 1 later, and the grade 3s you'll see tomorrow will be in a shorter arena. So we have 5 grades in para dressage. Grade 1 is for the most impaired riders, grade 5 for the least impaired. And the challenges within the test reflect that. So grade 1s will be walk only, grade 1s and 2s will be walk and trot, grade 1, 2 and 3 will have some leg yield into the trot, and at grade 4 the canter's introduced. So that's why we have a larger arena. So just starting off with the trot tour, and a really super picture between the two of them. Some nice rhythm going on. I think it just could do with a little bit more suppleness. So the judges will be looking for the ease of movement, the equal suppleness right to left. We want even both sides here on the turns. So as he goes through this serpentine, you can really see whether the horse is even both ways or whether there's a slightly weaker side. You're looking for the rhythm to stay the same, the contact to stay the same, the softness between the horse and the rider, that connection to their mouth. And this horse is really concentrating for him. Just a little bit too much neck bend in that shoulder in. But he's keeping the rhythm, and the horse's attention is really staying on him. There's loads of flags around. Luckily, it's not too windy at the moment. Just got a little bit stuck in that rein back, but nicely forward into the walk. He's just trying to soften that neck, get a little bit more give before he moves into the free walk. And wants that clear rhythm in the walk. It's just going for that relaxation. Good steps in that pirouette. You want to keep the steps a little bit forward and turning, and keeping that walk rhythm the same, so he didn't get stuck in that. That would be a really expensive mistake. Yeah, good there. Super stretch forward. Horse is softening a little bit, relaxing with him. It's just allowing with the rein there. So some riders you'll see will need to lean forward to give the rein, because if they have loops or they struggle holding the reins, he's able to drop the rein and give the horse the length of neck, the space it needs. Just a little bit quarters in this way. They have that canter loop to show that they've got control as you sort of start to work towards the introduction to the counter-canter. So the horse needs to keep the correct bend, keep a good rhythm, and not anticipate a change or brace against as they go over the centre line, which he did really nicely. Nice clean transition. The horse just lost a little bit of balance, so just sneezing a little bit, maybe due to a bit of tension, just caused him to lose a bit of balance. Really keen to go forwards and nicely back as well. We have that loop this other way. A little bit more difficult this way, but still managed to keep the canter, so well recovered there. Good clean transition. Forward into the medium canter. It's nice to see the horse wanting to go, taking him forwards. Just a little bit, could be a little bit softer in the hand, just a little bit against him when he comes back. It's a really nice picture. He's done a really super job. And into the final halt. Super job. He's very happy with his horse. It's nice to see. Thanking the horse at the end of the test. His ears pricked. I think he enjoyed that. And a smile. A round of applause from the kiss and cry box. Lots of happy faces. That's what we like to see at the end of a test. And the marks are just coming through, so you should have them on your screen in a minute. Yep, there they are. So 66 from the judge at E, 64.875 from C, 65.5 from H, 65.625 from M, 65.875 from B, leaves him with an average of 65.575. You're just seeing some highlights here. So yeah, some really super moments from there. You can just see a little bit there, the quarters in a little bit that he had on that rein, but some really super work. Lovely partnership to watch. And lovely to see a happy horse at the end of it. So next we have in Jessica Kurtinen from Finland. She's riding Westside, who's 19 kWPN. And I absolutely love watching this combination. The horse has so much power to offer, and she is so quiet on top of him. Super hot. Big smile on her face. She's going for that extension. Nice difference shown there. Just lost a tiny bit of balance coming back, but that's a lot of power for her to be containing. She's got a little bit of mouth opening there. Just needs to settle a little bit, and they're much better after the shoulder in. So here we move back into the serpentine again, so just showing that equal bend from on both reins that you're looking for. Looks a little bit easier to the left, a little bit too much from the neck this way, but still good rhythm. She's just sitting on 66% now, so she's sitting in first place at this point. Oh wow, look at that horse, keen to go. Super into that medium. Again, just a little bit better this time, but just a little bit of a challenge at the end of that when she comes back. It's a very expressive trot to come from though. And good rhythm in this shoulder in. Just lost a right hind there, but square in front. Good rein back. This horse looks like it's settled the more it's done. Just as she's moved through the test, it's staying with her. Just stepped out a tiny bit in that pirouette in the middle of that, but kept moving, kept stepping. And again, nicely into the stretch, keeping the rhythm there, taking the rein forward and out. You want to see, the judges want to see they take the contact forward and down, not just tuck behind the rein, which did there really nicely. Just a tiny bit against her when she picks him up. So there's transitions out of any extended pace. A little bit large going in, but correct after that. Second half was better. super into the canter. And it's really nice to see actually that, you know, she's not riding from strength, because she's not very big at all and there's a lot of power in that horse, and just the harmony between them is so nice to see. Clean transition. Could have been a little bit more forward into the trot, but clean into the trot, clean into the canter. And she goes for the medium. That transition back was better. Back into the loop. So you can see how using her position and body for that change on the loop. So when she hits the centre line, she keeps that positioning to keep the right canter. Very well ridden from her. Again, could be a little bit more forwards into the trot, but clean. And she goes into the extension. Again, it's so nice to see the horse wanting to go. Ears pricked, listening. And then well ridden into that collected canter. Kept riding forwards, not backwards into it. Super big grin on her face. She looks very happy with that. Just going into the final halt. Superb. Very pleased with that. She's got a big grin on her face. It's just one of those combinations that make you smile when you watch them. It's so nice to see that partnership, and within para dressage, it's so much about partnership. You can just see those scopy extensions. It does a little bit more in front than behind sometimes, but so expressive. Really shows a lot of power. That transition into it is so clear, very precise, straight into the extension, no hanging around. Super, well done, Jessica. The scores are just coming through. 66.7, 67.7, 68.3, 65.125 and 66. So very similar judges actually. The judges are fairly in agreement, and she moves into the lead provisionally, finishing on 66.850. So next in, we have Diane Barnes from Australia. So Australia were very nearly didn't send a team of riders here, and actually everyone got behind them to send a team, because it's such a massive experience for them, and you know, good for the governing body to get behind and change their mind and actually, you know, listen to the riders, listen to the public, and here they are. So this rider's riding with split reins, which you can see there. So when the rider struggles holding the reins or struggles to hold two reins, they have the option to ride with these split reins. So actually it has the same impact as riding with the double rein, but there's just one that they need to hold. So a lot of riders will do this if they have loop reins. or if they struggle holding the two reins and have problems with grip. And she also has a caller, so you need to get dispensation to have a caller, to have the test called, and that's linked to some kind of impairment or memory or something that means that the rider has legitimate problems remembering the test. It has to be linked to some medical explanation for it. Oh, just lost a bit of rhythm there. This horse has a lot of spring, so it gives the horse a lot of cadence here in the trot, and she just lost that balance. It just looks like it's holding a little bit here. I could maybe let go a tiny bit more. But very obedient. Squared up nicely there. And that's nice to see the rider taking their time into the halt to establish it, because it's very expensive and easy as a rider to kind of go with the halt and go quickly into the rein back, but you need to establish that halt, show that immobility, and then move forward into the rein back movement. Again, keeping that activity in the pirouette. Slowed down a little, but she kept it. Not showing a huge difference in this free walk. Could possibly let the rein out a little bit more, but again, that might be linked to she might have problems getting the rein back. So as a rider, when there's a movement coming up quickly after, like here when you have to get the horse back for the pirouette, sometimes you have to make a bit of a call as to whether it's worth sacrificing one mark to gain marks in another. So if she'd let the rein out loads for the free walk, she might then have struggled to get it back for the pirouette. Sometimes you have to make a little bit of a compromise. So again, in the canter, I'd just like to see it a little bit more forward, a little bit more free. But again, very obedient. So just sitting at just under 66%, so in the lead at this point. Again, clean transition through trot. There we go. And as she rode forward for the medium, the quality of the canter improved. So if we could just take a little bit of that through into this collected canter, it'd be even higher. Again, very obediently back and very easy from her aids. Super. And again, you can see the positioning from the rider on this loop. Keep that right canter, keep the horse in alignment, keep the balance on the hind legs. Good. Clean through the trot. Again, a very straightforward transition, but one that is actually quite difficult to do when the horse has been doing transitions from extended to collected, and you ask to bring them back, then they anticipate the collected canter or a canter walk, simple change transition. So getting that canter trot getting them thinking forwards on that line can sometimes be a challenge, but she did that very cleanly, very well. And a good square halt to finish. With some whoops from the crowd. She looks very happy with that. Clean test, very clean test. The horse just looks so relaxed in this atmosphere.
Ladies and gentlemen, please inform you again that this is a silent applause competition.
Super, super test.
Yeah, on your die.
And a lot of appreciation from the Kiss and Cry box. And the score's coming through now. See where she finished up.
Now please welcome from the Netherlands, Sandwoods and Dimension.
Super square halt. Just showing that from earlier. And those sort of marks really pull in, those sort of movements really can pull in the marks. If you can establish those, they're easy marks to get, but they're not easy marks because it's not straightforward to do that. And we'll just wait for her score, but the next one in will be one to watch. So Sanne Voets from Dutch, from Holland, in Denmark here. Reigning world champion, reigning Paralympic champion, reigning European champion, with her super chestnut Demanta. Now she will be looking to make her mark here early in the class. So entering the arena now, Sanne Voets from Holland, looking to defend her title from WEG 2018. So a strong start, just left one hind leg behind her to make it super square. But very clean entrance, establish the hole before the really good move off. And this horse is so scopy and they make such a good partnership. And Sanne is such a good test rider. She doesn't throw the marks away and she seems to love the pressure. Super in that, shoulder in there. She also rides able-bodied up to International Small Tour and has done a Grand Prix on this horse as well. But the challenge here, so the movements are not the challenge is doing them as best she can and really taking those calculated risks to go for those bigger marks without making the mistakes. And so far, she seems to be doing this. So good there into the medium. And I think the difference with this horse is that you see the quality in the extended paces, but then she takes the scope through into the collected paces. She doesn't shut them down, they just get higher. Good into that hole, establish the hole. Just dragging his feet a tiny bit, but you can see the Dutch team. Ray of orange in that Kiss and Cry box. good into the walk here. So she's just let the reins out a little bit to get as big a walk as she can in this collected walk. Lost the quarters a tiny bit on that pirouette. Kept stepping. Yeah, and then she lets the reins out even more so that he can step forward into that free walk. Super. The rhythm didn't change in that transition, but the steps got larger. And again, really clean transition into that collected walk. Yes, better this way. I think I feel nervous for her. It's just looking like she's needing to work a little bit harder than I've seen her, but quality is all there. And they know each other so well, this combination. She'll know how much she can push him. She'll know exactly how he's feeling. They're so experienced. Just a tiny bit backwards going into that trot, but clean. Just giving him a pat. She says thank you for pulling that one off. Yeah, just having to work a little bit harder to get him forward. Still, super quality work. Again into his loop. And sometimes it's hard with a horse that knows the advanced movements that they don't anticipate. He looked so sure in that. He knew exactly what he was doing. Much better into that trot. Again, just encouraging him forwards with the leg. Seen her do bolder ones, but still good. Going for that clean test. She can't afford to make any mistakes because she knows she's got some big hitters coming up behind her. She needs to post something strong. Good into the trot, this last centre line. Super. Final halt. She breathes a sigh of relief. Super clean test from Sana. She says thank you to the crowd for your support. Yeah, I think I've seen him a little bit more forward. She had to work a little bit harder than she might have liked to, but still produced some super quality work. And it's just such a nice partnership to watch. They've been together for so many years, done so many championships, and to come in here and deliver every time. And here are the scores. Big cheer from the kiss and cry box. Should just be coming through on your screen in a moment. Just showing some of those really, really strong movements. Here we are. And it goes into the lead by a huge margin. So scores from 75 to 77. Judges fairly in agreement, finishing on 76.750. So a really strong mark she's just laid down there for the riders to follow. And it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out now, because Sanna's just, laid a really strong score down there, and a really clean test too from her, and they're such a consistent combination. So it's going to be great to see how the others compare to this, and how this class plays out. We have the second Dutch rider to come in the second half. We still have Rodolfo Riscala from Brazil, Manon Claes from Belgium, Kate from America. We still have a lot of strong combinations coming up, so she's laid down the gauntlet, I think. Let's see what they can do. She can sit back, all she can do is sit back and watch now. The hard work is done from her. And we're just seeing the next rider enter the arena. Monika Bartys from Poland. So we've got two Polish riders in this class. She rides the 15-year-old Kasper.
The combination will have a 2022 season with more good result. Ladies at the freestyle in the starting car and Austria and me, where they got 3 second places. Welcome here from Poland, Monika Bartys.
She is making a strong entrance as she goes in, powering down the centre line. So you'll see she's choosing to ride without gloves. Gloves are optional, and for some riders, sometimes it helps with the grip. So for me, the gloves actually help with the grip on the loops. And some riders choose without, because if they have limited movement or feel, actually you sometimes lose a bit of the connection by wearing the gloves, or the gloves don't suit your disability, and that sometimes they slip off. And she has, you can see on the reins, she has lots of different loops so that she can actually adapt the length if she needs to. So that does give a little bit of flexibility within the paces. Sometimes you want to let the reins out a little bit if they're a bit more relaxed, or you might need to shorten them within paces. And there's so many different adapted reins, and some allow that and some don't. So she obviously likes to be able to adjust the length of the reins. And again, showing some really good energy in this trot work. Sometimes the horse just comes a little bit high and back in the head and the neck. But really, really focusing on her. You can see the ears pricked. And just occasionally a little bit of slight loss of rhythm. When you really add in the power, it sometimes you can lose the rhythm a little bit. So it's that gamble of power and having the balance right as well. I just want to see a little bit more softness in the body and the neck, and just there in the pirouette, just losing the rhythm, losing the bend, and also a little bit stopping going into it rather than that forward and open movement. Just needing a little bit more sort of half-pass positioning, getting that shoulder forward as you go into the pirouette, to keep the correct bend, keep the balance in the right place. A little bit better this way, but still just just stopping that slightly forward momentum, and then the horse pushes its quarters out and she loses the correct bend. So good into the canter. This horse has a lot of energy, a lot of go. Super on that loop. Just keeping that correct bend over the centre line, keeping the positioning. Good into the trot. Could have just been a little bit clearer, maybe showing an extra stride. Again, riding really forward, really positive riding. Nice transition into that collected canter. Maybe just has a tiny bit too much bend to the right occasionally. She just might be using that flexion to keep his attention on her. And again, just not quite establishing that trot in those transitions. Very, very cleanly into them. But just could do a couple of extra strides just to show that that really is established before moving into the canter. Again, good into trot. She does this final centre line. And a superb finish. Some really nice work shown from that horse, and there's so much positive energy, and you know the focus was really there. We could just want to see a little bit more, a little bit softer, a little bit more relaxation in the body and the neck. And just keeping that balance at times when it gets a little bit too much. Super pleased. Big smiles from her as she comes out. We just see there the really clean steps in that rein back. Here, in that pirouette, just losing the quarters, just pushing the quarters out to the outside a little bit. Super horse. And the scores are just coming through on your screen. So judge at E69, judge at C69, H67, M65, B67.5, so that leaves her on an average of 67.95, and she just slots into second at this point in the class. It was really nice to see such positive riding from Monica. So this is the current top 5 as the class stands. Sanavert sits out in front on a massive 76.750. Monica Bartis, who you've just seen with Casper, in second on 67.925. Diane Barnes from Australia on 67.375. So they're your current podium positions at this point in the class. We've got plenty more to come. So you can just see Vladimir there warming up. He's next in the arena, so he'll just be doing that final tuning up before he comes through. And he'll be in just a few minutes. And you'll see, so Vladimir there is an amputee, and so we only have 5 grades in paradressage, so there's a number of disabilities that have to be split into those grades. So grade 4, there's a massive number of disabilities involved. So you've got amputees like Vladimir, and then you have riders with limited muscle weakness. So it may be 2 limbs affected, 4 limbs affected to a smaller degree, or riders like Vladimir that are amputees, and they each have different challenges and different aids that the riders will use, different adaptations. So Vladimir there has got adapted saddle. So on that side, he has on one side a much shorter stump, and that when he comes in, you'll see the saddle is just shaped around that so that it just gives him a little bit more stability on that side, and helps him to sit a little bit more central in the saddle, helps with his balance. I think over the next 2 days you'll see a real variety of riders, of disabilities, and of all the adapted equipment that they use to help get the best out of them and get the messages through to their horse.
Now entering the arena is from France.
It comes through into the main arena here.
He's a Paralympic athlete in 2012 and in 2021, 2 times FEI.
And this is a super horse. Really, really nice combination. He's very experienced as a rider. And they've had some really strong results this year, so this will be a really nice one to watch. 9-year-old by Fiedertans. Fiedertans for Rosie. And what's interesting to see is, even though there is a very obvious asymmetry to the rider, the judges still expect the same from the horse. The horse must be equal on both sides. Just like with any other disability, just like in able-bodied dressage. So he has to find a way to teach the horse, find a different aid for what his leg would do. So you'll see he carries a whip on that side just to even this up, but he still has to do straight lines. He still has to have the positioning correct and have equal flexion on both reins. There's no forgiveness. And this is a super scopy horse, very elegant. Shows some good extension there in the trot. Again, here on this side, a little bit of flexion for the shoulder in. But again, this is the side that he hasn't got the leg to just move that body away. Just pick that horse up on the right side. He relies on his balance, the positioning from him as a rider, and that whip aid. So some lovely trot here on the serpentine. Super steps in that extension. And you'll see he chooses to go rising sometimes in the trot. So in the medium trots he sat, and in the working trot he chooses to go rising. So sometimes if you feel a bit of tension in the horse, or it sometimes can help just to let them to get off their back and just keep that rhythm, encourage them to open up, loosen up in their body a little bit. Some good steps in the walk here. Again, these warp pirouettes are really pesky for riders. Even with legs, they're hard, I'm told, but without legs, they're a real challenge just to keep the body positioning, to keep the activity, to keep them stepping forwards. You can just see those ears flicking back. He's given an aid to say we're about to do a warp pirouette. Yeah, much easier this way. Very clean into the canter. And again, so this loop this way, he doesn't have that outside leg that normally you would keep back to tell the horse to stay on the correct lead. He's completely reliant on his body, his balance. Did that really nicely. Super transition. Very smooth, very clean. Just getting a little bit tense and a little bit tight in the neck coming back. Like to see a little bit more softness there and just taking the contact in the nose out and forward a little bit for the really high marks, but still lovely to watch. Oh, just a little bit tense going towards the trade stands there. You can just see through it, there's a gap at the top of the arena and there's a few trailers and tents through there that sometimes it just catches their eye. Again, just getting a little bit high after that extended canter. Good into the trot. This is such a lovely trot to watch. So flowing, so elegant. And he has a big smile on his face. Super. Very, very happy with his horse. Very nice picture to see. He breathes a sigh of relief. And it's so hard. It's, as riders, we work so hard for so long and there's so many people behind us, and we have just a few minutes in that arena that we want to give our own and give our all, and you so desperately want everything to come together in the arena, but at the end of the day you're working with a horse, you're working with an animal, and it doesn't always come off. So when it does, it's such a relief. It means so much to everyone to be here, and you want to give your best at this moment in time, and he looked very happy with that. And the scores just coming through. Judge at E, 72.250. Judge at 8, 68.125. Judge at C, 71.250. Judge at M, 68.875, and B, 71.125. So he finishes on a score of 70.325 and just slots into second behind Stanovoets. Super score from the French rider. They make such a lovely partnership, and the horse is so elegant, so scopy, and he presents so well. Actually, I stand corrected, it's a gelding. It's such an elegant horse. So again, you have your top 5. So your podium positions have just changed, with Vladimir slotting in silver at this point in the competition. Again, lots of super combinations to come. Just in a few moments we'll have one of those with Manon Claes from Belgium, a double medalist from Tokyo. She brings forward her reserve horse actually. Super exciting young prospect. And it's really nice. We've only had Tokyo last summer, but actually there are quite a few new horses. It's the start of a new cycle, and riders are keen to get these horses out ahead of Paris. It's just much shorter cycle this time, so the World Championships is the first competition after, so been thrown in the deep end. And here she is, Manon Claes from Belgium, riding Katharina Sollenberg, a 7-year-old mare by Jazz. And this is a super expressive mare. Manon makes a really nice picture with her horses. She's such an elegant rider. She's a very quiet rider. And this horse has had some very successful results this year. And you can see why. There's so much power, so much present with her. And again, it's just giving these horses opportunities like this to get in this atmosphere. And a super halt to start. Couldn't quite see it from the front, but side on, she was bang on, very square. Yeah, it's really important to be able to have the opportunity to get these horses in this atmosphere so that you can start to produce some of the work you get at home. It's one thing doing it in training or in the warm-up, but trying to deliver that performance in this arena with all these distractions is another thing. So much expression in this trot. Super uphill, super frame. Occasionally a tiny bit of tension creeps in. And Manon's doing a really good job to contain that. She's very experienced as a rider. She's in a very good position to give this horse a positive experience for the future, because that's what it's about as well. They're riding for medals, but also looking to develop them for the future, and it has to be a good experience, ready for the next time. Again, just 7 years old, this horse, and she's just using a little bit of inside flexion to say, keep your attention on me. Super there into the wall. And the wind's picked up a little bit, so the flags are going, but she seems to be staying with Manon. Again, just steps out a little bit at the end of the pirouette. Good stretch there, just taking that contact forwards and down. Just needed to collect the walk a tiny bit going into that pirouette. She's got such big movement. But keeping the steps, keeping the energy. Looking to pull in those marks at every opportunity. And this canter looks like she'll be pulling in some more big marks. Good, clean into the trot. A little bit of resistance going into the canter, but again, clean. Riding bravely forward. It's always nice to be on a horse that you feel like you can ride forwards on. And it's just getting that balance, not to tip her over the edge, but to ride for those bigger marks when she lets her. And again, Manon will be finding all that out at the moment. She's still, relatively new to this level, this horse is. So this is where she'll just be testing that and having to go by what she's feeling as a rider. And she looks like she's able to take some of those risks. Again, a little bit of resistance in the rein going into that, but saved it really well. Just giving her that pat of reassurance as she goes through that transition. She's giving this horse a really super ride. Very confidence building. Just lost a little bit of balance going into that hole. But a super finish. Very well established. A big hug she gives her at the end of that. She is very pleased with that test, and so she should be. Just 7 years old, her first major championship. What a lovely horse. Very, very nice. Such a nice attitude, and so important for her to... It's so difficult as a rider to get that balance between your own ambitions and hopes and riding the horse that you've got. And she's such a young horse. She's so talented. There's so much potential there even now. It's so important for her to give her a good ride today for the rest of the competition, but also for next year and in the run-up to Paris. It would be so easy to ask too much here. And she looked like she was able to take some calculated risks, but give her a really confidence-building ride as well, which is so nice to see. And the scores are just coming through. Judge at E, 71.6. Judge at C, 72.1. H, 73.3. M, 71.2. And B, 70.3. So she finishes on a score of 71.750 and just slots into silver medal position at this moment, pushing Vladimir down into bronze. I think she'll be really pleased with that. She had big smiles coming out, big cheer from the kiss and cry. Super job. What a horse. What a lovely attitude she had. To be able to come into this environment and ask for that power, and she just looked like she got more settled throughout the test. And here's your top 5. So there's Manon slotting into silver. Sana still sits ahead in gold. And Vladimir now in bronze for France. Yeah, what a super ride. Lovely combination. And next in the arena from Austria, Bernd Brugger riding Bellagio the 4th. 17-year-old chestnut gelding by Bellissimo M.
World Equestrian Game participant in 2014 and 4-time European Championship participant. And he's ranked as number 12 in the world on the FEI Congress Passport individual ranking list for grade 4. Today presenting his own 17-year-old Hannah without
Currently ranked number 12 on the FEI rankings. This is a super horse. Having a little bit of a look at the trade stands as he goes around the edge. So you weren't here yesterday, audience. And it has started getting a little bit busier here. So earlier on, the first few riders, it was still relatively early. It's quite quiet in the stands, but as the class has moved on, more people have arrived and there's a little bit more to look at for them. So entering the arena, Bernd Brugger for Austria. So you can just see at times the horse has a little bit of a tilt. So its head is slightly a little bit twisted in its positioning. So we just want to keep that a little bit straighter, a little bit more even in the contact. Possibly taking a little bit more on the contact on one side than the other. And that's really difficult with riders that have a little bit of sensation affected down one side, or a little bit of asymmetry themselves. The horses have to cope or adapt to a slightly different feel on one side to the other. So you can just see on this right side, so a little bit stiffer to the right, and it looks like that's slightly his weaker side as well. So that leg, that support from the leg isn't quite there like it is on the left side. It's a super scopy horse. It's a lovely stamp, very nice and uphill, stays in a good frame. Just again seeing that tilt on that circle and that shoulder in. You can see the horse's ears flickering back and forth listening. Good in that rainbow. So you just want a little bit clearer rhythm in this walk. So the walk is a 4-beat. And you just sometimes goes towards a little bit more 2-beat. A little bit better steps on the free walk. Just a little bit of movement in the head. I think he's just trying to flex the rider at the horse's neck, just to get a bit of softness, and you can just see that where the softness isn't there, the horse swings it back to the left, and you get that swinging effect. Good steps in that walk pirouette. You just want the horse even into both contact and softness. The softness there so that it can stay straight, and when you give the rein it takes it forward and down. It's having to work a little bit harder into that transition. Good. Clean into the trot and nice up into the canter. Just softened over the back as he asked for that canter transition. Really nicely ridden. Clear trot. Says to the judges, this is a transition. Very clear. I'd like the high marks, please. Again, just could be a little bit softer on this right side. Clear rhythm on that loop. We've actually seen most of the riders are riding those loops really nicely today. Sometimes the horses can anticipate a change or lose their balance, but if you keep the positioning and you keep the balance in a good place, the rhythm stays the same, and it's a really flowing movement. But it only looks easy when it's done well, and there's a lot that can go wrong within that. Good, just turning down the last centre line. Good. Better in the contact there, a lot straighter going down that centre line. And super hot to finish. Big cheer from the crowd, big cheers from the kiss and cry box. Oh, the horse leaves, his ears pricked, and he gives us a little wave to the crowd. Just showing some highlights here. It's a super scopy horse. Some really nice trot moments. He has a lot of suspension in the trot. Now that little challenge he had just in that free walk. So he's preparing. He's just checking that he has the bend and the flexion as he's coming out to this pirouette. And it's just a little bit of resistance there causing that swinging. And the scores are just coming through. The judge at E, 67.375, judge at 8, 66.5, C, 67.2, M, 69.1, and B, 67.2. So that leaves him on a score of 67.5 and goes into 5th at this point. So as well as riding for the medals, the riders are also, remember, trying to qualify for the freestyle. So the top 8 will go through, and the scores from the test today and also from the team competition in a couple of days. The average across the 2 days will then decide on the top 8. So riders need to be consistently up there across the 2 days to qualify for the final. So they have the top 8 at the moment. Sanovo still ahead. Manon Clays in silver and Vladimir Vincent in bronze, still at this point in the competition. And next in, you can just see him preparing. And the clouds are starting to disperse. We're getting some sunshine here. I think it's going to be a really nice day. And we're in. So next in, we have Katsuji Takashima riding for Japan. Coming forwards on this 10-year-old mare by Jazz, who's at BH. Katsuji has been at Paralympics and World Equestrian Games, so not his first championship. just entering the arena now. Oh. It just didn't quite establish that hold, and then lost the straightness and didn't quite get that immobility in that start. Just again going a little bit too much for the medium, and super scopy horse, but just losing a little bit of rhythm there. Much better into the trot rhythm now, so just finding his rhythm there on this serpentine. Oh, commentator's curse. So it just lost a little bit of suppleness on that turn, causing her to break into the canter. It just looks like she's holding a little bit in the arena here, and he's trying to put the power in, and she's just losing her balance within it a little bit at times. So again, there in the medium, there's so much scope in this horse. But just where she's holding a little bit, she's just struggling to keep the balance there with that. When you have horses that have so much movement, it's such a fine line. And again, it's up to the rider to make that call as to how much they can ask for on the day, because if you don't go for the big marks, you won't get them. You can play it safe and not miss out on a medal, but if you go for the big marks, you then are at more risk of having a mistake, and that can be really expensive. Didn't really collect going into that pirouette, so it was more like a small turn. Just lost the quarters pushing out. Just needed to bring the horse back, sit her back on the hind legs, a little bit of positioning, and then ask for that pirouette. But again, sometimes that's easier said than done. So better this way in terms of the positioning, but then it went a little bit too small, and then she stopped and stuck on that inside hind leg, so that will be very costly. Yeah, looking a bit softer into the canter now. I think you probably could have done with cantering at the start. She looks a little bit happier in the canter. A little bit of that extra energy out. Clean into the trot, and just a little bit of tension going up into the canter, just quickened a little bit for. Oh, a bit of a spook or a bit of a maybe feeling a bit fresh. Just as he opened her out into that extension. You can just see her sneezing a bit, trying to let a little bit of energy out. He's doing a really good job of containing it. Nice rhythm on this loop. She really puts herself in a nice balance in the canter on those loops. Yeah, good into the trot. Yeah, super. Much better this way. Just managed to control the pace a little bit going in, so she didn't run away with him. Keep that connection going into the canter. That one was much cleaner. And again, that medium was much cleaner. Just lost a little bit on the turn. Good into the trot, and then just keep that straightness into the final hole. Much better than the first one. A lot of applause from the kiss and cry box there. He did a super job with that because she was obviously a little bit hot, and it's just containing that, and it's so difficult. These horses don't see huge atmospheres that often. So when they get to a show like this and there's a crowd and flags, and they get excited, and it's up to the rider to manage that and try and contain it. And sometimes in the test you don't get the opportunity to let the energy out in the way that you want to, so that they then settled. So after her little moment in the canter, she just looked like that's what she needed, and she just took a breath. So you see there that pirouette that unfortunately will be quite expensive for him, where she's stuck. I think there's a lot of potential with that combination though. It's very exciting, super horse. And the scores are just coming through. So judge E 67, C 65.6, H 68.7, M 67.1, B 66.8, and an average mark of 67.075. So that puts him in 7th at this point. So in a qualifying position for the freestyle. Obviously they'll also have the mark from the teen competition, but they really want a good start in this individual competition as well to put them in a good place, ready for that qualifying slot for the freestyle. So next in, Rodolfo Riscala for Brazil on Don Henrico. Silver medalist from Tokyo. World medalist from Tryon on his 19-year-old Don Henrico. So this horse is by Don Federico and Loris Crusader. It's Hanoverian. And this is actually his last major championship. Rodolfo will be retiring this horse after this competition. So a really emotional one for him, I imagine. So he'll be hoping to put in some good performances here and finish on a real high. Some good trot work to start. Again, this horse has so much scope, so much power. And make a really nice partnership. Rodolfo also competing internationally at Small Tour. He just wants to, the rhythm is really good, he just wants to make sure he doesn't drop down a little bit on the forehand. Just at times he's getting a little bit on the hand. Just needs to come up a little bit so the pole stays the highest point. Good into that medium. Rodolfo's doing a really good job to keep reminding him to stay back on the hind legs and come up in front. Good in that shoulder in there. And again, Rodolfo chooses to ride with reins with multiple loops so that he can adjust them if he needs to. Good, just giving the horse a little bit of space by leaning forwards in that walk so that he can really let that stride out a little bit, and then he's, yeah, good, just sitting back to prepare him and set him up for that pirouette. Got a little bit big at the end, so it just caused him a little bit of loss of balance, but good steps. So here, unlike some of the other riders, Rodolfo has to lean forward to let the rein out, because it's it's difficult because of the loops. You can't let the rein slide through, and you'll see it's wrapped around his hand on one side as well, just for the extra grip. So that's the easiest way, particularly when you have a movement coming up so quickly after, like here in the pirouette. Yeah, good there, Beto. Kept the balance. This horse has a super canter. Again, Rodolfo really good with the positioning there to keep the softness, keep the rhythm. Just want to keep him up a little bit there. You can see him just giving the rein, saying stay in your own balance. Good there, forwards. He just brings his weight back to sit him up back into the collected canter. Currently sitting just behind Sana on the live scores. Yeah, super there. Yeah, good Rodolfo. Again, he just keeps giving the rein, giving him a little check, saying stay up. Just good into the trot, and then just a little bit of communication problems going into that canter. So a little bit hesitant going into the canter, not quite as crisp as it could have been. And this is what it comes down to with the medals. It's those tiny details that make the difference between 7s and 8s or 8s and 9s to decide those final placings or final medals. Good, and a good finish, and a big grin from him, and a hug for his horse. Super, and the Brazilian team has sat in front of us here, and he's just got a standing ovation. Lots of cheers from the kiss and cry, and a big smile on Rodolfo's face. He is absolutely delighted to be here. He has such a phenomenal partnership with his horse, and I could, even speaking to him yesterday, I could see when he talks about retiring this horse here, I could see the emotion on his face. He said he wants the horse to be retired when he's still fit and fresh and enjoying competing, and he certainly is that. Super, super job from Rodolfo.
Some great scores coming in for Rodolfo and Don Enrico.
And we're just about to get the scores now. I imagine that might shake up our top three.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dressage 75.25, Dressage 75.
And here we have it.
Dressage 74.625, Dressage 76.125.
Yes, he's moved on to the podium. So judge at E 75.2, C 74.6, H 75.8, M 76.1, and B 72.750. So he finishes on 74.925 and slots into that silver medal position at this point in the class, just behind Sana Voets. Super, super job. So there you have your top 10. Sana Voets sits in gold currently on 76.750. Rodolfo Riscala in second on 74.925. And Manon Clays on 71.750 sits in bronze. Wow. What a first half. Some phenomenal riders, phenomenal horses. So we now have a short break before the next rider comes in the arena at 10:15. So if you need to go and get coffee, now is your time, because we still have some superb combinations coming up.
so far in the lead is for the Netherlands and the Mature RS2 NLP, score to beat 76.75. Second place for Brazil is Rodolfo Vizcarra and Don Henrico, 74.925, and third place for Belgium, Menon Place and Catalina Sonnenberg, 71.75%. And besides the individual championships in this test, it is also the first qualifier for the individual freestyle final.
Jeg tror bare, jeg skal meget. Prøv lige at lave billeder, Mark. Hej, Kim.
Now please be advised that this is a silent horse test. And now we welcome our first athlete after the break. This for Germany, Annalena Niehaus and Kim Bayer. Kim Bayer, 9 years old now, is fatherly by Josef Franklage. She's by sired by all-time Fidelis, Symphony and sired them Summer. They recently attended the freestyle event in June in the Netherlands in Fulham about 2 third places who freestyle with score about 76%. The team in Germany came in third place in the team competition. Welcome here, Annalena Niehaus and Kim Bayer.
And we welcome you back for the second half of this grade 4 individual. And next in the arena we have a really exciting combination. Annalena Niehaus riding Kim Bayer, a 9-year-old mare for Germany. And this combination has not done very much. They've done one CPDI in Holland in June. But she had super results and finished third, just behind Sanne Weerts and Demi Harkins from Holland on very, very similar scores. So this could definitely be one to watch. It's a super, super horse. Very elegant. They make a really nice partnership. She's a very quiet rider. It's very still, nicely in balance. Showing some super trot work here. Good positioning for the shoulder in. Really using that short side to show off the mare. Super, super trot here on the Serpentine. Very elegant, nicely bending both ways. Rhythm doesn't change at all. Yeah, very nice going into that medium. And very much matching back to front, so that the back leg, the hind legs are doing some really good pushing and the front legs show some super expression. Sometimes you see horses with really extravagant front legs and actually they're not doing that much behind, but this is a very nicely matched horse. championship debut, and they are currently sitting on 74%. A good walk here, good correct steps. Yeah, well recovered. So the horse just wanting to step out a little bit, and nearly missed the step, but she just kept that energy, just used that inside leg to say keep stepping forwards, and that outside leg and her body weight just to keep the straightness and correct the positioning.
Nå, men det er godt. Så tager vi lige headseten af. Vi skal jo ikke før kl. 12:15, så det er bare lige lidt, ikke? Vi snakkes ved. Hej, hej.
Just a little bit of tension going into that pirouette, but very well managed. Very quickly was back on top of that. Good. And very cautious with picking her up, not to lose the rhythm in the walk before going into the trot. Oh, that was unfortunate. Just had a little spook there and lost the rhythm, but she was very quickly back into it. Horse looking a little bit hot. The atmosphere has definitely picked up. The crowds have started to come to watch. All 4 disciplines are on today, so very busy at the moment, and we're very close. The arena is very close to the stands, and people can walk around a lot, so it's a lot busier than when this class first started. Super forwards there. Just using her body weight to encourage that forward open canter, and then sitting back a little bit to bring her back. So very nicely on the seat there. There really is a lot to like about this combination. Doesn't quite have the same jump in the canter and scope in the canters as some of the other horses that we've seen, just to get the really big marks, but everything is very tidy, riding very neatly, really doing well to control that energy and that little bit of anxious energy the horse has. Just another little spook in that bottom corner, just losing that balance a little bit. Slight flexion to the left, which that judge at sea will see more than the others probably. But a super championship debut. A lovely horse, a lovely partnership. And just when that little bit more relaxation comes, I'm sure there are more marks in there. Super horse. You can see that trot is so elegant. Such a nice picture to watch. Looks so easy. Just there, that little bit of tension. Very well managed. She held her nerve. Championship debut. And a big pat at the end. So we're just waiting for the scores to come through. So obviously before the break you saw Son of Oets, who is currently leading, Rodolfo Riscala in silver, and Manon Clays in bronze on 71.750. So that's the score she'll need to beat to find a podium position at this point in the competition. Has she done enough?
now entering the arena. It is the world's number 2 on the FEI counters.
We'll just wait for those scores, but next in the arena is another exciting combination. Kate Schumacher from America, and she brings forward her young horse, and here we have it. 71.650, which just puts her in fourth by 0.1%. A phenomenal result for her championship debut. Super result. So next in, Kate Schumacher for America on her 8-year-old mare, Kiana. And this is a very exciting combination. Kate was out in Tokyo with her other horse. Came back with team bronze. Also came back with a freestyle bronze from the last World Equestrian Games. So she is looking to add to those potentially at this competition. And this horse, just 8 years old, but does have championship experience because it did compete in the World Young Horse Championships, age 5 and 7, with its former rider. Kate's taken her on this year and has had some really good results so far. And you can see why. This horse is so elegant, so scopy. And Kate's such a quiet rider. She sits so still on a horse. They make such an elegant picture. Just a tiny loss of rhythm on some of the turns there. I mean, look at that, wow. I mean, to be super critical, she just drops down a little bit behind the vertical at times and comes a little bit short in the neck. If she just came up a tiny bit, a little bit more relaxation, and came a little bit higher and more out with the head and neck at times, she could pull in some really big marks. But again, some of that is strength. She's, not that experienced in a championship environment. So learning to cope with the atmosphere is something else. And, as a partnership, they still haven't done loads. So all that is still to come. Super steps there. Really good stretch, good step. She doesn't speed up, the rhythm stays the same. The stride gets longer. You can see there, the horse is just playing with the bit. There's some froth there, showing she's really softening to Kate and that connection. But she just sometimes drops a little bit behind the contact. Very light and elegant mare. Just go into that contact a little bit more, come up and out. When you have so much power, that can be really difficult. And the horse is a little bit lighter and a bit more elegant. Sometimes they sit a little bit lighter in the hand, and it's hard to get that balance of bringing them back and keeping them on your seat and letting that head and neck out. And a lot of that is due to strength sometimes. Yeah, good. You could just see Kate encouraging her forward in that transition, just giving the rein. Super, and again there, just dropping a little bit down in the pole, but still showing some really super quality work. I really like this horse. This is a lovely horse. She's got such a good temperament, such quality. She's losing the quarters a tiny bit there. But again, the rhythm stays so good. There's Kate just encouraging her up. Got a little bit quicker going into that, but clean transition. Yeah, good. She just allows the rein a little bit forwards. It's difficult when there's so much power. Sometimes it just goes, there's just a little bit too much to manage, and they can go a little bit on the forehand, and Kate's doing a really good job to manage that and keep encouraging her back onto the hind legs, saying stay up in front. Yeah, super. She's really pleased with that. Very, very happy. What a lovely horse. How exciting for her, for the American team in the run-up to Paris. I mean, look at the scope. She's such an elegant mare. She has such a good attitude. And to come into this environment and just, you know, hold it together and stay with Kate. Again, it's about giving her a positive ride, giving her a good experience for the rest of the competition and also for the future. Super, super job. And we've got the scores coming through now. And again, we've started seeing the scores get quite close at the top. So after the first two, all the tiny details can make a difference. And wow, she's done it. She's moved up onto the podium. Georgia E 73.25, C 73.875, H 74.375, M 74.6, B 73.3 leaves her a total of 73.9, and she moves into bronze medal position at this point in the class. Superb result for Kate and a lovely 8-year-old mare. She will be thrilled with that. What a debut for that horse. A very, very solid score. Super, super result. And next in, we have another super exciting combination that will be trotting down the centre line in just a couple of minutes. But riding for Holland is Demi Harkins, who will also be making her championship debut with the super mare. And she has had some phenomenal results this year, some super high scores. It's a beautiful mare, a lovely combination, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this gets on, because I think this might shake up the podium. She's had some phenomenal scores internationally to get selected. Season's best of around 75%, which she's pretty much consistently been scoring in the team and individual tests. So she has the scope to really challenge for the medals. But, as we all know, horses are horses, and pulling it off on the day is never guaranteed. She's just coming into the main arena now. Another Dutch horse in orange. So Demi Harkins riding for Holland on the 14-year-old mare EHL Douala. This horse is by Gribaldi Michelangelo KWPN. It's competed up to into one with its previous rider. and they've shown some really super work. They looked fantastic out in Holland earlier in June to win the individual out there, just ahead of Sanna. So they will be watching from the side. And it's such an impressive horse. Naturally very uphill, very scopy. Sometimes with the scopier horses, it's so difficult to keep the balance with everything. Starting on 77%. She really needs to hold her nerve on her championship debut, which currently she's doing a super job of. And you can see how she's been getting some really super scores, because this trot work is so harmonious. The rhythm stays the same. The expression is there, the power's there, the harmony's there. Really good changes of bend here. I'm not sure if she's smiling or concentrating. She's probably enjoying the ride somewhere in there. Oh, yep. I thought that might be too much, but she just kept it. Oh, I feel tense for her. Super in that shoulder in there. She's really keeping this trot rhythm just the same throughout all the trot work. Just a few walk steps into that hole and just left that hind leg behind. Square in front. She's given the horse quite a lot of space for the collected walk, almost verging towards the free walk. Trying to keep the length of the stride and just give her enough space in the head and neck. She's lost the quarters a tiny bit, but kept the stepping. Yeah, good stretch. Could have taken it a little bit further out at the start, but much better at the end of that. And you can just see there hasn't been a massive change from the free walk into the collected walk. So she's still quite long in the frame, and that transition is taken into consideration. So there, she's just picking up the rein again, ready for the trot. So I don't know if she's feeling a little bit of tension with her, and that was deliberate. She did well to get her back for the pirouette though. Currently sitting in the lead at this point in the test. Very carefully ridden loop there. Really riding every stride. Tiny bit backwards into that trot if we've been really critical, but super trot stride shown. Considering it's her championship debut, she looks like she's really enjoying every moment in the arena, really taking her time. It could be so easy to just try and rush through and get it over and done with, but she's really riding every stride, taking her time, giving the horse time to show the expression that it has. Again, good loop this way. dead on with Sana at this point in the test. Really can't afford to make a mistake, and that transition was much better. It's too close to call. Just a little bit on the hands in the transition back, but very quickly rectified. Just his final turn, and then she's got that last trot to finish. Well, whatever happens, she has delivered a phenomenal performance today on her championship debut. Absolutely. Oh, just a little step to the side there in the square hole. She will be buzzing with that. With big smiles and big pats for the horse, and rightly so. What a beautiful test. Absolutely lovely to watch. Super horse, super riding, big smile. And big cheers from the Dutch team sat in front of me. Super, super test. And another big score from Holland that will obviously be really, really important when it comes to the team competition. The scores are coming through. I can't look.
This horse is so fine with Laura. This combination of recent international starters that the three are coming back in the Netherlands.
And they're not showing us.
From Latvia.
Wow. So we're just waiting for the results. But next in the arena is Elise Musni's riding the 11-year-old mare Bailey. Riding for Latvia. Entering the arena now. Just 17 years old, this rider at the World Championships. What an incredible experience for her. And again, it's easily said than done, but I really hope she enjoys every moment. So it could just be a little bit softer over the back and through the body a little bit, showing some good rhythm. Just having a little bit of a look at the surroundings. But staying with his rider. We don't mind that as riders, you know, for the horses to have a look. As long as they're able to concentrate on you as a rider and stay with you, you can deal with that. You know, they have to have a look. They're not machines. And when they haven't seen an atmosphere like this, or there's a lot going on, it's hard for them to keep their focus. But when they put their trust in the rider and stay with you anyway, then it's so important, and it's so nice as a rider to have that bond with your horse. So again, showing some really nice rhythm in this trot work, just a little bit tension coming through. She's doing such a good job to manage it and just to keep that tension. Just left a hind leg behind, but established that immobility before going back into a nice rein back. And again, this horse isn't as scopy as some of the others, but you can pick so many marks up with arena craft and riding the correct rhythm and riding accurately. Just losing the quarters a little bit on that pirouette. But otherwise, she's doing such a fantastic job with this horse. Riding so maturely for her age. Good. And just showing a little bit of softness there in the free walk that we just needed. Just gave a little bit of a breather and she's giving him a scratch on the neck. Just stuck. So just stopped in that pirouette, stopped stepping forwards and picking out the hind legs. Unfortunately, that will be expensive. And again, really good positioning. The riders have been riding these loops really well. We haven't seen too many issues with them. And keeping them in a really good balance, really good positioning. And you just keep that fluidity throughout them. She's looking a little bit stiff to the right this way. She's doing such a good job. Keeping that focus, keeping his attention back on you. Again, well ridden loop. And as the test has gone on, this mare has got softer and started to relax. Oh, I jinxed it. I was going to say she started to relax a little bit more in the arena and settle and just lower the head and neck a little bit. Just had a bit of a spook in that transition and went a little bit crooked throughout it, but managed to get the trot, establish the trot and the new lead. So well managed again. Things don't always go to plan, but if you can think on your feet and manage and adapt, you can save those marks. And nicely into trot for the final centre line, just stepping a little bit sideways into the final halt, but really good on mobility. There's Riyadh Snickers, who will be riding later, showing us support in the kiss and cry box. Big pats. Super, super. Very, very good job. Just showing some really good highlights from really well presented test. Just 17 years old. What a future for the sport.
Italy is still for the Netherlands, Sandwich and Dimenture RS to LOP.
And now we can now bring you the results for Demi Harkin. So close. Judge E 76.8, C 77.5, H 76.5, M 72, and B 77.125, leaving her on a final total of 76%. A massive score, and she slots into second, just behind Sana by 0.7. What a phenomenal outcome for her, though. She will be chuffed with that. Amazing championship debut and lying in silver medal position. An interesting, quite a big gap in the judges there, from 72 to 77. And that difference will have really cost her, but very, very strong results and very good for the Dutch team as well. From a team competition, these scores won't count for the team, but it does give you a very good insight of what might be to come. And We're just getting the scores through from Alice. They should be coming on your screen shortly. Here we have it. Judge at E 64.7, C 64.6, H 67.8, M 63.3 and B 68.5, leaving her on 65.825 and currently 13th. So she will be back to ride in the teen competition as well. Obviously every rider here is fighting for that top 8 finish, and the scores will be combined from this individual competition and from the team competition, which all riders will compete in, whether they're in a team or not, or just riding as individuals, because the combined scores go through to the freestyle. And here you have your top 9. Sanavo still out in front on 76.750. Demi Harkins just behind on 76, and Rodolfo Riscala in bronze, 74.925. What a phenomenal competition we've had so far, and there are still some to come. Just 5 riders left to go until we can officially name the world champions and the medalists. But so far we have had some incredible horses, some incredible riding and some massive scores. So now it's just the anxious wait for the last few to go. And next in the arena will be riding for Ireland, Rosemary Gaffney. Here she is coming in. So representing Ireland, Rosemary Jean Gaffney, riding the 13-year-old mare Chantal. Rosemary has competed at multiple championships, but this is a debut for this horse. So entering the arena, Rosemary Gaffney for Ireland. Super entry and halt. And Rosemary is very experienced, but also has such a good eye. She spots the smallest details within other riders, not just herself. She's such a good eye. She's so much experience. And she actually had a really bad fall a few years ago and completely shattered one of her legs. So it took quite a lot of rehab to get that back and get riding fit again. But obviously still struggles with a lot of weakness. It's a really super elegant horse. Just sometimes drops down a little bit in the pole. And Rosemary has to work a little bit harder to keep her up and out into the rain. But showing some good steps in the trot here. Really nice rhythm, good bend left to right. A little bit slower into the mediums, better in the second half. We just kind of ran out of space. I just love this horse's ears, going out to the side when she's concentrating. Really staying with Rosemary. Super halt. Very, very square. Good immobility. Just dragging her feet a little bit in the rein back. But good diagonal steps. Nicely into the walk. Again, just a little bit of head movement there where Rosemary's trying to soften her, and she's just a little bit, just needed to let go a little bit. So really well to save that pirouette, keep the activity. Just came back a tiny bit in that. But Rosemary was quick to catch her, pick her up, save those marks. Just again, a little bit of swinging. She's not quite getting that softness and relaxation that she would want. She's just saying, come on, pick up. Pick up, turning from the outside. Yeah, good. It's a little bit large, but kept the steps, kept the position. Just a slight miscommunication there in trot. Anticipating that canter transition. These horses are so quick to learn the test, so sensitive that any movement we make that they often respond to and expect something. And especially mares can be so ahead of the game. You have to be so quiet, so clear. Really nice rhythm in that canter. Good, clean transition. It's a careful balance with those trot transitions because you want to show the expression in the trot and not get too flat. But if you collect them too much, they'll think collected canter or walk. Just losing the quarters a little bit on that turn. She just pushes those quarters right too much. Reminding her to stay in right canter. Yeah, super clean transition there. Just letting her neck out. She's just got to keep her up in the pole. Yeah, good there. Rosemary's turning her body and the horse will follow. A nice into trot. And just, yeah, good hole. Just drop down a little bit in the hole, in the frame, but super immobilities. Super partnership. Really nice partnership to watch, and Rosemary looks very happy. Thank you, she says to the crowd. Thank you for your support. She's such a lovely person, really appreciates all the support the crowd can offer. Loves their enthusiasm. She's so happy to be here. She just loves competing, loves her horses. This mare in particular is so sweet. She's had some really super scores on this horse, and they're such a nice partnership to watch. Big pats at the end there. Thank you, Chantal. And some big cheers from the Kiss and Cry. The Irish team are very happy. Lots of smiling faces. And we just see the remaining riders just making their last preparations before coming through. And her scores just coming through for Rosemary. Great picture, look how happy she is. Judge at E, 68.6, judge at C, 67.7, H, 69.6, M, 68%, B, 67.6, finishing on 68.325. And she goes into 8th place at this point in the competition. Super job. Look, I love that picture of her. I think it sums her up perfectly. So happy. And next in the arena we have, riding for Spain, Alberto Ferrer Martinez, riding the 16-year-old chestnut, ECCO de Tormenta. This is by Ibanez CS, Dream of Glory. Just 4 riders left to go in this class. So just entering the arena. Nice and straight. Oh, a little bit crooked going into the halt there. I think I jinxed him. Good there, and showed some good strides towards the end of that medium. Just came a little bit high in the head and neck and got a little bit of tension, and then he ran out of space and coming back he was a little bit against the hand, but shows you what is in there when the horse has the relaxation. And again, this horse doesn't quite have the scope in the paces as some of the others, so really important to ride accurately and get those marked wherever you can. Yeah, went into that a little bit better, but unfortunately just some mouth opening, which will hold the marks down a little bit. So just a little bit of tension, a little bit against the hand in that. Again, just bracing in the neck a little bit into that hole. And it's a shame he makes a really nice uphill picture when he's going. And there's some really good harmony, moments of harmony. It's just getting that bit of relaxation and acceptance of the bridle, and then he can, once the push is there, the relaxation and softness is there, he can then put the power in and then bring him back on the hind legs and be a little bit better under the seat. But he's just having to do a little bit too much work to keep it all together. Again, just losing the quarters a little bit. Good stretch there. Really took the rein forward. Some nice steps in the free walk. Just stuck, unfortunately. Just was a little bit, you could see going into that there wasn't quite enough forward push, so unfortunately just stopped behind. Oh, bit fresh, and that'll be expensive for the pirouette. Very well managed, got him back. Maybe he needed that. Maybe he was holding a little bit and now he's feeling a little bit better. That canter looked better after. He's just giving him the rein to give a bit of space in the head and neck, getting him to try and relax, saying, you're not trapped, I'm not trapping you. Again, just struggling a little bit with that transition down, a little bit on the hands, and then it's just a bit against his rider. He managed to get the transition. Some good canter after, a nice pat there. Saying, stay with me. Relax. Yeah, good short side and a little pat after as well. That's so nice to see. So important to give the horse confidence. Yeah, super there. Very nice, much better self-carriage, and you can see when the rider can give the rein and the horse stays in the same balance, you know they're in self-carriage. When the rider is having to hold them up on the rein, you give the rein and the horse falls on its face. So a little bit struggling in the downward transition to get the horse in self-carriage through that moment. He's just having to help a little bit, and then sometimes the horse goes against him. Just a little bit fresh, a little bit tense. It's a big atmosphere here. There's a lot going on, and in para dressage there aren't that many opportunities to get them in an atmosphere like this, so they're not quite as experienced, and we as riders don't always know how they're going to react because they've not had that opportunity. Just a little bit crooked again going into that hop, but super well managed, a super sweet horse. And there's a lot to like there when the horse settles and shows what he's capable of. They make a really nice partnership, and I thought he managed that really well. He gave the horse confidence when he could. He didn't overreact, and he reacted quickly to keep his focus. And there's some super strides in the trot. A little bit of a fresh moment there. Again, very quickly got him back. Just there, sat still, sat quietly, got him back, gave him a pat, and then he came back to him. And that's our job as riders, to keep building the confidence, hopefully get better as you go along, so they can grow during the competition. The last thing you want is to have to fix a problem the next time you take them out. So it's all about finishing on a positive note and trying to have that good experience and build confidence in the arena. So next time it can be better. That's the goal. Whether we can do it or not is a different matter. So we don't have the scores for him yet, but next in the arena is Louise Etsner-Jakobsen, representing Sweden. She's riding her 11-year-old gelding Gold Strike BJ, another by Jazz, and she was are we getting the scores? We're getting the scores. So for Alberto Ferro-Martinez, finishing on a score of 62.3 takes him into 16th place at this point in the class. So entering the arena, Louise Etsner-Jakobsen, riding for Sweden. And this rider came back with an individual freestyle silver last year. So she could be one to move up the scoreboard. What can she do today? Very big, impressive horse. Yeah, some good steps. Again, a little bit high in the head and neck. But again, going towards some of the audience, going towards the marquee. Good, settled on the circle there. Just a little bit on the hand and the shoulder in there. Showing some good trot steps, good rhythm. Louise is just giving the rein, saying again, stay up. Carry yourself. Oh, tiny spook, that was unfortunate. Well recovered. Super trot steps here. Really nice rhythm on that serpentine. A little bit stiff to the right maybe. But again, going towards the audience, going towards the crowds. Some nice steps in that medium. And it's nice, even when this horse has a little look at something, it stays with its rider. Again, a little spook, but comes back. Good. Not quite established. So really need to establish that immobility. If she'd just waited a couple of seconds just to hold that hold, it just would have established the immobility a little bit clearer before the rein back. But she may have got a different feeling on top. She can only ride what she's feeling, and she may have thought, this horse is a little bit hot, he's not going to want to stand still, we'll just move on. Just stepped out in that pirouette, unfortunately. The riders, we're constantly trying to make decisions based on the feeling we get from the horse underneath us. It's that way up between pushing for the higher marks and you know, risking a mistake. Again, just a little bit tense coming down this long side. Having a little bit of a look at the judges' box or the flowers. Just step back a tiny bit, so that the second half of that pirouette was a little bit better. Going into it was a little bit backwards thinking, unfortunately. I'm not sure this horse is getting positive feelings from the kiss and cry box. A little bit lucky. Wondering who the crowd there are. Nice there. And when the horse is settled and relaxed and just, it's just that tiny margin where you just see that change and the neck drops a bit and the attention goes to the rider. There's some really super quality work here. It's just those moments of tension that unfortunately just hold the bigger marks back. But she's still doing really well with a really solid score here. And really managing those spooky moments to get them back as quickly as possible, ready for the next movement, and that's all you can do. It's that side. Again, really kind of genuine horse. Try it. Oh, again, jinxed her. I was going to say, it tries to stay with the rider and not do anything too dramatic. I think that was building up. Said it, I did really well to hold it together, but she managed to get that transition cleanly. And it's a shame because in between the little spooky moments there's so much to like. There really is a lot to like about this combination. This horse has a lot of potential. Still only 11. It's got that jazz spark. Hopefully come Paris. Just takes a look at the crowd saying, what are you doing over there? Lots of cheering, big happy face. I think she's a little bit relieved. Yeah, big pats. Some super work. It's just such a good job to manage it and to hold it together and show some really quality work where she could. Unfortunately, just too many expensive mistakes and moments of tension to get the really big marks, but lovely, lovely horse. And really nice transitions. Oh, just that unfortunate. Nope. She did really well. She didn't lose a call. She stayed with the horse. Finished on a high. That look. Super. And we'll just wait for her score to come through before the final two riders of this class. Well, what a class to start with. Some incredible partnerships, some new horses, some young, new talent. Very, very exciting. So Sanovo is still sitting out in front. Demi Harkins in silver and Rodolfo Rascala sitting in bronze. And the scores for Louise are coming through now. Judge E 68.5, C 66.2, H 68.6, M 63.5 and B 67.6, finishing on 66.9 and just slotting into 13th place at this moment in time. But actually 8th to 13th are very close, so I think it's going to be really interesting, the final 8 after the team competition. So here you have your top 9 as it stands. Sanovert's out ahead on 76.750, Demi Harkins on 76 in silver, and Rodolfo Rascala sitting in bronze on 74.925. Yeah, there's just 2%, just under 2% between 8th and 13th at the moment. So that competition for the qualifying 8 for the freestyle is really going to come down to the wire after the team competition, and that's why it's quite nice to have 2 days of it that count, because it shows the consistent performances and also gives you 2 chances to really put your best foot forward. And some horses grow in confidence each day. So it gives you that second chance in the arena, whether you're in a team or not. So next into the arena, riding for Norway, Anita Hennie Jonsson, riding Lindgard Lucky, 14-year-old gelding. So we know at this point Sanovo is guaranteed a medal. Just 2 riders left to go. Will it be gold? And a big smile on that first centre line. That's nice to see. I think sometimes as riders we don't always enjoy as much as we could because we're so competitive, and that's been one of my goals this year, to try and enjoy competing more and really enjoy each moment, because that's why we do it. We put so much time and effort into these 4.5 minutes in the test. Just losing a little bit of rhythm in that shoulder in. And the horse just dropping a little bit too deep in the trot. Just want to be able to pick the frame up a little bit, get the horse back on the hind legs so that the front end that balance can be shifted back and the front can come up a little bit, and then it can really show the expression. Some nice steps in the medium there. Not a massive difference, but sometimes you have to go with what you're feeling and how much you can afford to go whilst keeping the horse in balance, because if you go too much and ask for too much and you're too greedy, you can end up with a lower mark because you lose all the other qualities. Again, lost a little bit of rhythm in that shoulder end. The horse could just be a little bit more supple. Just stuck. It went. He went to pick his foot up and just hesitated. These walk pirouettes are such an expensive movement, but they're so difficult to get right. It's like everything. They look so easy when they're done well. Again, just got a little bit too close behind, a little bit better stepping. And it stays in a nice rhythm in this canter. Again, just drops down a little bit too much on the forehand. Just showed a slight bit of crookedness going through that transition, but clean back into the canter. Riding forwards there for the extension. You can see the horse sneezing a little bit as it's allowed forward and out a bit more. So it might be a little bit due to tension, and she's just trying to keep that horse on side and its attention on her. Riding it a little bit rounder, a little bit deeper, and going for that softness and obedience rather than, again, trying to push it too much and risking losing that. A little bit late into the canter. I think there was a slight miscommunication there. Oh, that was a shame. Oh, that's such a shame for the final centre line. just not quite square into the final halt. Some support shown there from the kiss and cry, but that's a shame, those last couple of movements. She showed some really nice work here. The horse just, I think, needs to be a little bit more supple in the lateral work, and just be able to ride it up and out into the contact a little bit more, so it's just a little bit deep and on the forehand at times. But there's some really nice paces there, some really nice work. I think she may just have been feeling that in there and thought, I'm going to go for the obedience and ride a little bit deeper and not push too much. Again, that just final halt, just not quite square. And unfortunately, they add up. So the podium currently still Dutch 1-2 and Rodolfo Riscala from Brazil in bronze, with just one rider to go. And of course the top 8, still not sure whether they're qualified for the freestyle, because that will be decided after the team competition where the scores will be combined. We've gone from a little bit overcast this morning to bright blue sunshine throughout this class. So it looks like the riders this afternoon will have a nice ride. So then the scores are through. Judge at E 64.8, judge at C 64.3, H 67, M 67, and B 64.875, leaving her on 65.625 and in 16th place at this point in time. So we have our final rider of the class, Amasiej Bija from Poland, riding the 16-year-old gelding called Liverpool. Entering the arena now. And I mentioned earlier about asymmetric riders and the impact on the horse, and here you can see on one side he has a really short arm where he's got the reins attached, and so not only will he have two different feelings down the rein, but also one is slightly higher. So he's doing a really good job to try and make them as even as possible, because any difference in angle can change the feel that the horse has on its mouth. Just losing a little bit of the rhythm in the trot at the start of that trot work. It looks like he's got it a little bit better here for the shoulder in. Rhythm and balance just being affected a little bit in this trot work. Yeah, better steps there in the medium. And the movements come up really quickly in this sequence. You really have to have the horse on your aids and on your seat to be able to go quickly into the medium and bring them back ready for that circle. They have to be really responsive, and that's the test. It's not just the medium itself, it's the transition in and transition back. They have to be so prompt, so responsive, so that they can then set them up ready for the 10-metre circle, because otherwise you see with some of them, they're still trying to get them back after the medium. So, and that affects the circle, and they're running through the hand a little bit, or they're losing their balance. And with the really high scoring ones, you can see that transition before they hit E. Ready, new balance, ready for the circle. And that's how they're getting the big marks, and they're able to show the horses off. It's just a little bit against him today. Could just be a bit softer. There. He settled a little bit when he gave the rein, but he's just looking at. There's a lot going on. He's looking at the stands, he's looking at the flags, and then you've got a little bit more to manage. It's so difficult to ride a horse when you get that feeling that they just go a little bit rigid in the body and they're not really with you and paying attention. That was better that way. His jacket seems to have come undone. I hope that doesn't get in the way of his rein. Oh no, it looks like it's around it. It looks a little bit more settled, so after the free walk, hopefully that diffused a bit of the tension for the horse. It's a little bit more settled in the canter here. Better short side there. Horse just opening its mouth a little bit at times during the test, but seems better, seems a bit more settled now. Some good work there, good positioning. The ears are flicking back and forth. Yeah, much better. Not quite as clean as it could have been, but good into canter there. Just having to try and work to keep that 3-beat, keep the jump in the canter. Just a little bit of crookedness on this centre line, and then you get the tilting where he's got that slightly different contact. Super well managed, and I think the horse got better throughout the test. So he did a really good job there of making that improvement throughout the day, ready for the next time he goes into the arena. He looks a little bit disappointed. I think he had to work a little bit harder than he was expecting. And there's some good trot strides there, and when the horse settled and that relaxation came a little bit better, there were some really nice moments. Yeah, nice pat at the end. So we'll just wait for those scores to come through. But I think we have our podium by the running scores that we had during that test. And I think we have a Dutch 1-2. And a phenomenal 1-2 it was as well. And here's the score coming through now. Yeah, judge at E 61.6, judge at C 62, judge at 8 64.7, M 64.5, B 61.5, leaving a total of 62.875 and going into 18th place, which means Sanne Weerts has retained her world title. Gold for Holland, 76.750. Silver for Holland, Demi Harkins, EHL Duola, 76. And bronze for Rodolfo Riscala, Don Henrico from Brazil on 74.925. Phenomenal riding. Very, very, very happy for them. And Rodolfo is just in front of me here. He is very happy, big smile on his face. They have 11 to 19th. So Diane Barnes coming in at 11th, Australia. So again, that kind of top 8, that top 8 qualification. I think the last few spaces are going to be very tight. So riders have got all to play for in the team test, in the team competition later in the week, because it's that combined score that will decide the top 8 that go through to the freestyle. But for now, we have our first world champion, Sanne Weerts. She had the pressure, she had the expectation, she had the challenges from Holland, Brazil and America, and she's come out on top once again by 0.75%. Very, very close. Very close. Congratulations, Sanne. Congratulations, everyone. Silver for Demi, bronze for Rodolfo on this horse's final competition before he retires, 19 years old. I think it will be an emotional week for Rodolfo. But for Sanne, I'm sure she'll be very, very happy and probably a little bit relieved as well. Unbelievable. I think there will be lots of celebrations going on in the Dutch camp. And I think that's very exciting for them from a team perspective as well. We've got 276% scores. And the scores won't count for the team competition. But when you have riders capable of achieving those kind of scores, then this bodes well for the team competition. And they will have everything to play for. So super podium. Sanne Weerts, Demi Harkins and Rodolfo. And we'll head over to Stina very shortly for the interview with the riders. She will be catching up with our medalists and our new world champion, first world champion of this championship.
Championship title. It's your 5th World Championship title, the 3rd with him. How does it feel?
4th, actually.
4th,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, he is a golden horse.
He really is.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a very special horse to me. He means the world to me, and just the fact that he performed at his very best here today, it still gives me goosebumps. Yeah.
It must be incredible to have that kind of partnership where you can just go in there and deliver time after time. What do you do on an everyday basis to really get that partnership working?
Well, that's a big secret, of course.
Oh.
No, we train a lot, and we train a lot together. And but next to that, I think it's really important to spend a lot of time together, just observing him, feeding him, bringing him outside and back inside again. I think that is what makes the bond, and just investing in getting to know each other. And well, he's my best friend.
You can tell when you're right in there that you're really, really close. And what was your favorite part of today? Everything?
Yeah, well, I think when I was in the arena, I literally didn't think of anything that had to do with the score or the result for today. All I wanted to do is be a good rider for my horse, and I was really very focused and very. I really liked being there and feeling that it was him and me performing at our best, and that is the best feeling in the world.
And it showed. So huge congratulations once again. Well done, Senna.
Thank you, Stina.
den bag.
Jo, og lad være med at sige begrænsning og muligheder. Det er det, det handler om. Så, spændende.
Meget spændende.
Meget spændende. Ja.
Og det er sådan set derfor, fordi vi støtter jo.
Ja, I sponsorer. Ja. Så der er, det er, uden det vil det heller ikke gå, men det er jo også, kiloer på kampe, og så står de andre med 200, ikke? Altså, det går ikke. Det er heller ikke særligt.
Hvornår skal I kommentere?
Vi kommenterer dem, der er vandstræk.
Ja,
Så vi skal
det næste klasse er der.
Ja, vi skal
Så er det.
Det der, det er FEI. FEI kommenterer også det inden for deres. Nej, jo, altså det kan man jo sige, at jeg kommer til hjemmefra. Men ikke bare. Jeg kommer til at også sammen med jer. Sammen med Sina.
Ja, selvfølgelig. Jamen, det er det mest af det.
Ja, det
Jeg elsker det.
Du går også her roligt fra at høre efter det. Det er ham, der skal guide. Jamen, jeg skal jo have Jeg laver alt klar. Så i aften laver jeg det bliver fantastisk.
Altså, ligesom.
Som
er helt
ja, men det kan godt være. Vi har jo så sjov nok så god tid. Vi venter bare på Katrine, ikke også? Vi er helt godt klar, ikke også? Ja, og det er jo noget. Og de sidste dage i dag, det er lidt det kan virkelig noget. I forhold til at kommunikere noget til andre typer, så det kan jeg meget godt lide. Den eneste, jeg kender, der har gået til det, hun har også gået til det,
Jamen, det er jo sådan noget.
og sådan noget. Og det er fint at åbne sporten, faktisk på den måde.
Men den har lidt af en hest med, og man skal kommunikere med hesten, man skal alt det der. Det gør jo så.
Nej, det er meget intuitivt, det som jeg ikke måtte kommentare, det er bare at gøre det lidt næsten. Jeg havde en veninde, der holdt en omkring, og så tænkte jeg, at de kommer holde, og så løb mig op, og så stod vi op på, at det ville jeg ikke.
Nej.
Men det var det heller ikke rigtig en hest til, det tror jeg. Det ved jeg ikke.
Meget
Ja, men vi er her
og fortsat med god humør.
Ja, vi har masser af godt humør.
Men det har været en fornøjelse at lytte til dig.
Ja, men mange tak.
luck.